You're watching the Coaches Roundtable on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guests from North Allegheny High School. Basketball coach Spencer Stefko and star players Lizzie Gresh and Paige Morningstar. Quite a run for you guys, Coach. 4 championships, WPL the last 5 years. Only that 2-point loss at Peters Township prevented you from winning 5 in a row, and the first ever state basketball championship for the Tigers. Quite a run. And, Coach, I need to ask you, you have experience there. You won a state championship at Seton LaSalle in 2014. What was your message to the team this year, especially after last year when COVID interrupted the season for you? And you had a great team last year, too.
I feel like our message this year was to focus on the mission, which was just to get to the end of the year, to have a championship game and to do everything in our control to not have things canceled on us. Some of that is out of your control. We had a game canceled when the numbers in our district went up, and because there was a certain level of spread in the county, we couldn't do anything about that. But there were also some other times where we did some things to avoid some risk that helped us get to the end of the year. I'm sure wasn't as fun as kids to always have somebody telling you about social distancing and about masks and things, but you got to give all the credit in the world to these older kids who simply from the start just turned it into a numbers game and said and took the mentality of let's do everything we can to maximize our opportunity to play as many games as we can and to go as deep as we can, and make sure that if something negative were to come up with COVID, that it would be because that it would be something that we couldn't control. And these kids did a great job of controlling everything that they could, and it was beautiful to see.
When you talk about the mentality, I think this year, you correct me if I'm wrong, your team played the best defense you've played in since you've been at North Allegheny. I mean, you took an undefeated spring forward team and held them to just 40 points.
When these kids are locked in, I mean, we have some really good individual defenders, which certainly is the basis for everything, because everything we did was based upon ball pressure. And, when you've got 5 kids out there who can pressure the kid who they're guarding, that's going to make everything else a little bit better. But, man, they were connected. As the year went along, they were connected, and they were connected in different ways. When we played Penn Trafford, John Janakis, who we have all the respect in the world for, talked to me after the game, and he said, in watching us on film, that he's seen us, play man-to-man defense 4 or 5 different ways, and that there are different ways to win. And I feel like when I look back at these kids, yeah, there's going to be some individuals who you go, oh yeah, that kid was a good individual defender, or that kid was a good helper or a good charge taker. But the way that they were connected and that they could kind of sort of tweak this coverage and tweak that coverage and give a little extra help here, a little extra help there. It's just not stuff that you usually can see high school kids do. And a lot of it comes from the 2 kids on the screen who just have incredibly high basketball IQs and communicate through a ton of things. I mean, every one of our meaningful halftime adjustments this year was a kid generated one. The only stuff that I threw out there, I think, was the stuff that didn't work. But I remember Paige at halftime of the Upper St. Clair game, throwing out 3 or 4, throwing out 2 or 3 things nonchalantly that then she went and made come to pass. And Liz the same, and it was just incredible to be along for the ride with those guys.
Hey, Coach, thanks a lot. Speaking of those two girls, your stars, I want to bring them on and talk to them about their careers at North Allegheny. Thanks a lot, Coach. We'll be in touch. Hopefully, COVID's over. We'll get down there to do some games again.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
All right, girls, nice to have you on. Lizzie, I'm going to talk to you first. You had 22 points, 8 rebounds in the championship game, and a great career, 1,509 points. I'm being remiss to give you your full name, Lizzie Gresh, and you're headed to Penn. Tell me about this season, Lizzie, and how focused you girls were after having last season's PIAA run stopped because of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, last year was really hard with just how everything ended. So as Coach mentioned earlier, our goal at the beginning of the season was just to be able to play and do everything that we could control to have a season. And we wanted to be able to finish it on the court this year. So, I mean, it was definitely a roller coaster, like with all the shutdowns and stuff, but I thought we did a great job of just controlling everything we could control. During the shutdowns, we all we all kept up. Like, we had Zoom workouts and we all stayed sharp. So when we got back on the court, we were ready. This team, I just thought was like really special. I mean, we had great chemistry and it felt like a family. So I'm lucky that I got to be a part of it. And I mean, what we got to do this year was really special, and I'm glad we had the chance to do it.
Headed to Penn, what are you expected to play at Penn? What, you're going to play the same position, or possibly you're going to play another position there?
I mean, I'm just going to do whatever they need. So I could see myself playing the 1, 2, or 3 there. So whatever they need.
And your major at Penn will be?
I'm majoring in business, but I'm taking like a lot of science courses too. So I'll probably decide like in a few years, after my sophomore year, like what I want to focus in.
All right, let me turn to your cohort there and teammate, Paige Morningstar, a two-sport star. And Paige, you scored 16 points in the championship game. Watch you girls play basketball. Paige, we've done some of your volleyball games against Seneca Valley. In our 16 years we've done this show, we've never had an athlete like you who has 11 championship gold medals. Am I right or am I wrong? 4 in basketball and 7 in volleyball. I never heard of that. I don't know if anyone in the state of Pennsylvania has 11 gold medals or championship medals. Did you have you're going to Louisville for volleyball. How hard of a decision was it for you to choose between the two sports?
It wasn't that difficult. I was pretty much all volleyball throughout high school, like all 4 years. I quit AU in 8th grade, but it was just the sport I was better at and I enjoyed it more. So the decision wasn't too hard. And then watching like my sister do it, my oldest sister, she went to Notre Dame for volleyball, watching her like go through the process and like seeing that it's possible and that I could do it. So she really gave me like the confidence to stick with volleyball and trust that it would work out.
And what will you major in at Louisville?
I'm business as well, but not with like the science classes. So like all business and then maybe finance specifically.
And being in the ACC, you're going to be coming back to Pittsburgh to go against Pitt. Has a very good volleyball team. That should be exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Getting to play them at home will be very exciting to see like my family and friends at the game. Like even if I'm not playing, it would still be fun to come home for that one game.
You girls have had great careers in basketball and Paige in volleyball. When you look back on your years and your days at North Allegheny, what are you going to remember the most about your time there?
Sure. I'd probably just say like the relationships that I've developed over the years, like the friendships I've made with people through basketball. Like I've stayed in touch with all of them, and I mean, there's been some really special people to come through this program, and I'm glad that like basketball brought me with them.
Yeah, the relationships for sure is a huge one. And then just all like the success and struggles we all went through. I think I'll really remember like COVID, especially like this year was so different and so special. So like seeing how we could overcome something so huge and dramatic, I think is like a really cool thing to do with like these kids and the teams that I've played for. So yeah.
Hey, girls, it's been a pleasure for us to cover you girls down through the years, and Coach, great achievement for your team. Great legacy there at North Allegheny. Lizzie Gresh, Paige Morningstar, and Coach Spencer Stefko, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on a fantastic season.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
very much,
care.
Mr. Cody. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Look forward to you girls and your college careers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll be right back with Ellen George.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
I am back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left by the Tiger Albert Campman. Spring sports are underway. Let's go to Spotlight Track and Field Girls. Abby Jewett of Montauk. She took first in the 800, the 1600, and was part of the winning 3200 relay team. Marianne Ackerman of Slippery Rock High School, what a career she's had there. She took first in the shot, the discus, and the javelin. And another star there at Slippery Rock High School, Anna Kadlubik. She won the 100, the 200, and anchored the winning 400 relay. And boys track, this guy's just on fire. Guinness Brown of Butler, he took first in the 100, the 200, and the 400. Landon Kretzer of Butler took first in the shot, the discus, and the javelin. And Levi Prementine of Slippery Rock High School won the 110 hurdles and the long jump and the triple jump. In baseball, Alex Havener of Mars, 3 hits and 4 RBI. Johnny Fratto of Mars, 3 hits and 4 RBI. Mitchell Schultz of Mars, 3 hits. Chase Vrabel of Pine Richland, 3 hits. Gavin Phillips of Knock, he pitched a 4-hit, 5-2 win over Deer Lakes. And in softball, Courtney Stewart of Montauk, she recorded 10 strikeouts and collected 4 hits in a 17-3 win over Butler. Emily Staub of Montauk, she had 4 hits. Pitcher Sydney Selker of Freeport, she pitched a 3-hitter with 9 strikeouts and helped her cause with 3 hits and 6 RBIs in a 13-3 win over Mohawk. Olivia Vasari of Knock, 4 hits. Mia Elise of AC Valley, 3 hits and 4 RBI. Kenzie Parks of AC Valley, 4 hits. Emma Covert of Montauk, 3 hits. And in wrestling, Pennsylvania All-Stars 27, U.S. All-Stars 23. Alejandro Herrera Rondon of Seneca Valley decision his opponent in 152-pound class. And the WPL All-Stars 41, Maryland 6. Cole Spencer of Pine Richland pinned his opponent in the 160-pound class. In volleyball, Cade Wheeler of Butler, 15 kills. Caleb Wonar of Butler, 42 assists. And in high school hockey, goalie Tyler Lang for Freeport Class A, he had 11 saves and a 3-0 win over Fox Chapel. And in the quarterfinals, Freeport 4, McDowell 0, another shutout for Lang. Next up for Freeport will be the semifinals. And in Class AAA, quarterfinals, North Allegheny 5, Seneca Valley 0. North Allegheny goalie Josh Bailey with the shutout. And in girls lacrosse, Brady Page of Seneca Valley, she had 4 goals in a 4-1 win over Butler. She scored them all. Morgan Wise of Freeport, 4 goals, and Charlotte Stamper of Mars, 3 goals in a 14-4 win over Indiana. And in college news, you guys will remember Montauk pitcher Kennedy DeMantis. She's now a pitcher for Gannon University. She could pitch complete back-to-back wins, 5-0 and 3-1 over Slippery Rock in a double header sweep. DeMattis allowed just 1 earned run in the 2 games. She was named PSAC West Pitcher of the Week. You know, going back-to-back. I know it's softball, but I don't care. They're still throwing fast. She pitches, 14 innings in a row there.
Oh, absolutely. You know, as soon as I hear it, I think how Slippery Rock let her get away.
We've said that before. What a phenomenal career. And she's right down the road, 10 miles away from the Rock.
It might be educationally motivated, maybe religiously motivated. Gannon is a Catholic school.
And former Mars basketball star Lauren Wasselson, she is transferred from Xavier to Duquesne. Wasselson, a 3-year starter for the Musketeers, averaged 6.3 points per game. She has 2 years of eligibility remaining.
That's the portal. That's the biggest thing going in sports today, in college sports.
And in recruiting news, Micah of Knock will continue his cross-country and track career at Youngstown State University. Formica won the Class AA cross-country title last fall.
Hey, YSU in track.
Very good program.
What, they got 7, 8 in a row out?
Yeah, dominating in the.
They dominate the rivals.
Well, you know he's good then. Big one there.
Absolutely.
You know how good
That's
he
what
is.
I was saying.
Stephanie Atkinson of Butler will continue her soccer career at Barton College in North Carolina. Our stories of the week: National Hockey League depends in third place, East Division 24, 12-2. It's getting shorter and shorter. We're down to 18 games for them. They split in Boston, won in Boston for the first time in like 10 years. They lost the second game 7-5. Next up, they're at the New York Rangers. By the way, the Rangers, they've lost one game at home this year. Trade deadline is April the 12th. I'm not sure what they're going to do. The injured guys are coming back. Malkin, Bluger, and Kapanen set to return. So Sullivan has to decide what he's going to do with those third and fourth lines, although the reserves have been great. Anthony Angelo and Mark Jankowski. What do you do? Do you change things up? Do you keep going the way you are because you've been winning?
They don't
you know,
do that.
starters don't lose. Or when they get injured, you don't lose your starting position.
Well, in hockey, you always go back to your front bell winners like Malkin, and then on the third and fourth lines, come playoff time, whoever's playing good, you keep them in. If they're not,
They don't seem, Penguins over, they don't seem reluctant to make a change or anything.
No.
they've
Like
always
yeah.
made changes.
Yeah.
And they'll if there's a trade out there, if there's a forward they think
Yeah.
can help them win, they'll trade for him. The other guy gets benched or,
Yep.
or moved into reserve. They just don't worry about it. And you don't hear much of those guys complaining either.
Well, they want the ring. They want that ring also. Everybody wants to be a part of a winner, and the Penguins are a winning franchise. You know, we're spoiled with them. We always think they have a chance.
I
the
think
cup.
they have a chance
Oh,
the
they
way
have a
they're
chance.
playing. I really do. Elsewhere in the National Hockey League, Buffalo ends an 18-game losing streak. I never heard that in hockey before. 18 straight.
And they have the greatest fans in the world, and they keep coming out. But you know, when the Buffalo's good or bad, the COVID's different. But they don't give up. But that's why it's so disappointing, because Buffalo's a hockey town.
And then speaking of COVID, as someone once said, not so fast about COVID being over. Vancouver Canucks, 22 players, 16 of them have COVID. A number of them hospitalized
Yeah.
with serious symptoms.
Not so fast is a good way to say it, Eddie.
Full stadium at Texas. It just makes no sense.
Major League Baseball, the Pirates open with a 5-3 win over the Cubs. Key Brian Hayes, a first-inning home run. David Bednar of Mars, I watched him. He looked sharp. Scoreless inning of relief with 2 strikeouts on just 12 pitches. That game took 4 hours, a 5-3 win. They lose the next 3-2 to the Cubs, and Key Brian on a 10-day injured list with a jammed wrist. And then they lost on Sunday 4-3. And starter Mitch Keller, 3 innings, 77 pitches. He was all over the place. Then they lose to the Reds 5-3 on Monday. So they're 1-3 on the season.
That's the Pirates. You know, you have a starting pitcher that go 2-3 innings. It's going to be a long year because of that.
How about 20 pitches an inning for these guys? This is who, it doesn't matter who's out there.
No.
The guy last night, same way. 3 innings, 67 pitches or something.
Major League Baseball over the long weekend, 50 pitchers took the mound. I may have missed a few. Just 11 pitched 6 innings. 1 made it to the 7th.
Today's baseball, and I told George in a way, if my grandkids said, "Papa, we going to see somebody pitch today?" I said, "No, not." In the old days, you go see Gibson pitch, Kofa, because you knew they were pitching 9 innings. You can't say to a kid, "We're going to go," because he might pitch 4 innings.
And Albert bringing that up, 9 innings. I think the day of the 9-inning no-hitter is
gone.
over.
No.
It's gone.
Minnesota pitcher Jose Berrios, 6 innings. Listen to this: 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 12 strikeouts, 84 pitches. They pulled him.
Yep, and
Why?
you know what's happening with that, Eddie? With this bothers me because they're trying to make baseball good for young kids, and they're driving people like me away. You know, the traditionalists who love
Right.
baseball. Why do I want to go to a game? Guy pitching a no-hitter and they take him out. I don't. It makes so they're losing everything. Baseball's lost.
Top end and bottom end.
They're losing both.
Now you
Yes.
can't take cash.
You go to the game, no cash. All your charge card or prepaid
think about
card,
free.
everything ordered by your phone to get into
Yes.
your seats. It's turning a lot of people off.
It's turning me off.
Let me say this about these guys. Bert Blyleven said, guys don't go to distance anymore because they don't build their arms up. That's like we coach track. You're going to take a kid that's running the 1600 and only train him for the 800. He's not going to win in the
He's not ready for
600.
it, right.
You're not training him to go that distance. And the same thing here with these pitchers.
It's for us, Eddie. We believe in it. They totally are 100% the other way. But they don't want their pitchers going more than 5 innings.
They lifted DeGrom last night with a shutout. And they got beat. Like I told El, it would be bad enough if Mariano Rivera were coming in. They bring in Joe Schlabodnik there. He can't get anybody out and they lose the game.
And we mentioned this before about the World Series last year, how they lost that game.
Oh, Snell.
Took 'em out. Why?
Did they yesterday again, didn't they?
Did you hear what you just said? Don't go past that one. We're not talking about just April games.
Yes,
They'll do it
anytime.
anytime. That's what's so disgusting.
And that's why, once again, I said last week, your buddy Joe Madden, one of the reasons he left Chicago, he was sick and tired of them telling him before the game what to do. He said, what am I here for? I can't manage
Every manager
anymore.
does
Not with that salary he makes, especially.
Hey, an article in the PG about the Pirates losing big this season is great for the Pirates because they'll get a number one draft pick. They'll get other draft picks, restock their farm system, and build a team like the Cubs and Astros did. And I'm thinking to myself, is this April Fool's joke?
It is April Fool's joke.
No, I thought it was.
It's not going to happen.
No.
So their payroll is $42 million. So to get to that level of the Cubs and Astros, a modest $140 million, you're going to increase your payroll by fourfold.
They're not.
So I don't blame Key Brian Hayes sitting there waiting because
He knows.
he sees what's out there, and the Yankees and other teams sit there and say, "Oh, who'd the Pirates draft? Okay, we'll see him in 3 years
them
or
in
4
3 or 4
years."
years, yes.
And
Let
what's gonna
them
happen.
take the bumps with them. You know what I mean? Not only are they not having to worry about it, they're letting them get the rough spots out of their game. Then when they come into their prime, they're going to throw $200 million at them.
Easy, because you see what Lindor signed
Oh.
with the Mets, $341 million over what, 10 years,
hedge fund guy.
$34
Cleveland
million a
Pittsburgh
year.
now. You know, Cleveland at one time was paying some money, then all of a sudden they said, we ain't doing this anymore. So
They're
now
not doing it.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Miami, right down the line,
It-
and Baltimore, they're not paying money, they won't do it. They won't, they spend $35 to $45 million.
Mm-hmm.
4 teams, those 4 teams I mentioned, don't add up to the Dodgers.
No, the Dodgers are at $200 million. They
Yes.
don't care about that payroll
No,
tax,
they don't care about
and the
that.
Yankees don't either.
No.
Now they mentioned Tampa Bay, but let me say this about Tampa Bay: their payroll is probably at least twice that of the Pirates, and they pick their spots and add a player here or there, and they keep finding guys to plug in, and they will pay the money to stay competitive.
Yeah, they have.
Well, March Madness went crazy, guys. It was just a wild weekend of basketball. Let's start with the men's semis. Gonzaga 93, UCLA 90 on Jalen Suggs, 30-foot buzzer beater in overtime. 6'10" center Drew Timme had 25 points, and boy, you look like you think, well, Gonzaga has a chance to become the 8th team to go undefeated to win a championship alongside UCLA, which did it 4 times, and then San Francisco, North Carolina, and Indiana. But Baylor, no one was paying attention. You watch them against Houston. They look phenomenal. I said, it's 78-59 romp over Houston. They come out punching against Gonzaga, knocked them down, wouldn't let them up off the mat, and routed them 86-70. The final score doesn't really tell the dominance. They were bigger, stronger, and faster.
It reminded me so much of my glory days of playing basketball at Farrell. Baylor is Farrell. We play Shaler. Shaler would come in undefeated, first round of the WPL tournament. They'd have 10 at halftime. You know, you got to see the Shaler team play. And Farrell play them, and the score would be 31-10 at halftime. That's what happened last night.
Yeah.
Oh, Gonzaga's pretty. Gonzaga's a pretty team. So they played
Now,
Baylor.
their headbands look good, you have to admit.
Their headbands.
Those cute headbands they have.
I mean, take nothing away from Baylor. Do you think that win over UCLA took something out of them? Took their legs away a little bit?
It's possible.
They look
had
slow.
4 guys played
because-
40-some minutes.
Yeah.
Not a thought in my mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Not a
No,
thought.
I
Not
diminished.
a thought in my mind. I watched the game and Baylor beat them up.
And
That's what
beat them up tougher.
Oh, they beat them up.
And
physically.
the quickness of their hands, how they got in there and
Beat 'em up.
swiped
It was
balls
11-0
away.
before they even realized, these boys are here tonight.
And Gonzaga couldn't cover the space on the courts.
Never cover.
Where players were just wide open for Baylor. And Baylor wins its first ever national championship. And what a job that Coach Scott Drew
yeah.
did.
Remember when
there.
they started?
I remember when he started 18 years ago. That program was as bad as
exhibition.
any in the
No-
country.
no, he'd go to Kansas January 4th. It would be his first game, and Kansas is 11th.
It's the greatest build in college sports history.
Has to
no,
be.
No doubt in my mind. They
Yes.
were done. They were getting
Phenomenal.
They were getting rid of the
That was
program.
worse than the death penalty.
Yeah, they were getting rid of it. Yes. Uh-huh.
Hey, and the women's Final Four, just unbelievable. The women's TV ratings are a big hit for the Sweet 16 was up 66%. How does this ever happen before? Stanford wins their third title and first since 92 under Coach Tara Vanderveer. 66-65 over South Carolina and 54-53 over Arizona. Back-to-back one-point wins. Does that ever happen before? I can't remember.
I don't remember it. And they are equal. I watched some of the games. The teams are equal. That is not a fluke that those games were close.
And Arizona, what a job they did against UConn, 69-59. Their outstanding guard, Ari McDonald, she had 25 points. UConn never led in that game. They smothered them with great defense.
The game plan was defensively, and then give the ball to McDonald and get out of the way. Because Connecticut likes to help. They couldn't stay in front of McDonald.
And the Connecticut, they have the player of the year. She hit the back of the bankboard
She
and
was
shot
guarded.
2 air balls.
Hey, two things. One sad note for the tournament. The 22-year-old Alabama fan who attended the games in Indianapolis died because of COVID-related symptoms. And the other thing, Roy Williams is stepping down at age 70, 33 years, 3 national championships. And I read some things. One, his star center, the 6'10", 5-star recruit is leaving. And then the other things become difficult for these coaches. The recruiting within the recruiting. You have to keep recruiting your kids not to enter the transfer portal. And a lot of coaches are just running out of that energy to continue doing that. It's so frustrating for them.
I wrote 2 articles that said that's why he left. That he said this is about this. Once again, it's like me in Major League Baseball. It's not college basketball. When your 2 best players who you've coddled for 2 years say, Coach, I'm leaving.
Yeah,
How terrible is
And they're
that?
poaching them in the handshake line.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yes.
And the new saying now is grow old.
Yeah.
Grow old
You
with
can't-
your team.
you
So
can't.
getting these 5, look what happened to Kentucky, 9-16.
Another guy
this
just
year.
left yesterday, another 5-star.
Oh, they're all leaving.
From
There's-
Kentucky.
Yeah, there's no chance for to build a relationship anymore unless you get lucky. It's all based on luck.
Listen, we had a coach on last week on the radio. They don't know who's in there of their own. They can see the other people,
Yes.
but they can't see
I
their
never
own.
knew that.
Amazing.
So you don't know your own players are in there. Like
It's
they might
amazing.
be behind
Yes.
your back.
Now, someone
telling
probably
doing
tell
it.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Quickly in the NFL, Jets trade quarterback Sam Darnold to Carolina for a 6th-round pick this year, a 2nd and 4th-round pick in 2022. Darnold in 3 years with the Jets, 39 interceptions. Will he be better in Carolina with a supporting cast?
I am all over that one. I told George I think that's a great deal. He's just as good as any quarterback come out except Lawrence. Now he's going to get protection. He's got McCaffrey in the backfield. But look out for Carolina. That's a quick rebuild.
I hope he'll be better. Those 39 interceptions, he did the same thing in college. He threw a
That's
lot
his struggle.
lot
That
of
is his
picks.
struggle. That's his struggle.
I think he'll get better coaching
I
from
think he'll be
Matt,
fantastic.
from Matt Rule. And so now the Jets, they're going to take Justin Fields, I believe, and then Zach Wilson.
I thought the
probably go to
BYU
49.
guy.
Yeah, I thought you were taking Wilson too.
BYU.
The Jets are going to take
That's
Wilson.
what we heard. That's what I heard.
All right. Myself, I like Fields.
So
we're
do I.
going to talk about that in a few weeks. Get your top 10 draft picks
Okay.
ready. That's it for us. We run out of time. We'll see you next week.